Good evening. Good evening. So excited today at New Earth Radio. We have a very, very amazing, unique woman, Janice Johnson. Janice Johnson, so happy to have you here in our show. And it's an honor and a pleasure to have you as I know you for many, many years now. And I know all the beautiful things that you do with your healing. You started as a doula for a long time, birthing many, many children, helping many mothers. Over 250 mothers birth their babies, doing an amazing job. And suddenly, you discovered that you had another talent that you didn't know at that moment, but you started birthing the inner child of many, many people when they come to you. And because you have that nurturing, that love, and you make everybody feel so safe, people just open up and you're able to get that little inner child to be birthed again. And that is so lovely. Welcome to the show, Janice. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good.
That's
And
great.
it's an honor and a privilege to be part of your show. It's we were um, discussing whether we were gonna do it uh, together in the same space, but we decided to stay in our own sacred spaces.
That's right. So you have your second space, your healing room, and I do have my healing room and my space over here. So important to have your own personal space, don't you think?
Yes, I
Okay.
think that's what makes relationships remain healthy,
Okay.
right?
So respecting each other, you would say respecting each other and having their own space so you can glow, and explore. And so moving together, but in different lanes, but doing this stuff.
We can go in the same car sometimes, right?
Yeah, without the dog, without all the dogs. Okay, gotcha. So listen, I just wanted to check with you regarding first of all, your how do you came about to go into healing work? How did that happen for you?
Well, it feels like it's a whole life journey that the healing happened, or this modality came about, and it was stepping stones. For me, I was a very sensitive child growing up, so the crybaby and feeling everything and sick a lot, physical, a lot of physical illnesses as a child,
Yeah,
and a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stresses. And I feel that all of that was part of my training.
yeah.
In,
I think that a lot of people know you as the healer. They come to you and you do an amazing work with many, many people, and they don't know what you went through, right? And I think it's important that you talk a little more about that because there's so many children right now, and we have beautiful clients that are extremely sensitive, and they go through nightmares, really nightmares of dealing with emotions and feelings, and they don't know if the emotions are theirs or they're somebody else, or they're hearing judgment in their ears. Can you explain what happened when you hear too much judgment?
Mhm. So, well, for me, I'll talk about on a personal um, side, and I haven't really shared this publicly. I've
Okay.
shared it with personal, like on a one-on-one client, where I would feel that there was a resonance that they would understand, or why I was understanding for them. But like earaches, and sometimes it's about not wanting to hear what's in the surroundings, or not wanting to hear what is being said about you, all of that, so you develop earaches. or the child might not like what he or she is hearing about their moms or their dads or grandparents. If there's any tension, sometimes we think that the children are not listening,
Mm-hmm.
but they are, even when they're sleeping.
Okay.
So, so all of that has an impact, and a sensitive child, which eventually will become a sensitive adult, which we call empaths.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember having like exaggerated fears, like if I would have an experience, and now I have three that I want to share because they're kind of
Okay.
common, and people will probably relate, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe more. As I'm opening that, it's like, oh, I'm getting some uh flashbacks of
Mm-hmm.
different experiences. So the first one that I would like to share is, I was probably about 7, and my mom used to do she would pass for the Heart Foundation. Like, she would go to house, from house to house, to collect money for the Heart Foundation. So we would walk with her, and there was a big German Shepherd. So, and he was not very nice. So for me, I was already scared, being the sensitive child, but the neighbor convinced us that if we would throw a big bone, that the dog would go to the bone, eat the bone, and we could go in the house and he wouldn't bite us.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom had a big bone. I remember the neighbor gave her a big bone, threw the big bone, and we went in. And then when we came back out, my brother and we just jumped over the deck and ran to the road. But my mom was saying bye to the lady, and the dog came and nipped her.
Ooh.
But I saw all of that. I,
Ooh.
I didn't get attacked, but my mom did. So for years, I was petrified of dogs. So to the extent that if we would go somewheres that I knew, especially German shepherds, like I had a, a big rye with the German shepherds, and having that experience, being on the side of the road and seeing that happen, created a lot of ripple effect afterwards. So, for instance, we would go somewheres, I would stay in the car, lock the doors,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so scared that the dog could open the 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 door. So
Yeah.
eventually, it's only in adulthood that I said I need to get rid of that fear. So I took a dog as part of my healing, but
Yeah.
also I had to do some healing work. And now we have a German Shepherd. Our neighbors have a German Shepherd. And no, I would not go in his territory, but I can walk in front of him and say, hello. I say, hello, baby, hello, and but he is a constant reminder of that trauma that I've conquered
Mm-hmm.
through
Mm-hmm.
different um, ways, natural ways of. Um, Now, if the German Shepherd was come in my yard, I don't know how I would react, but to me, it's part of that journey. So kids that are very sensitive will
Mm-hmm.
over exaggerate
Mm-hmm.
emotion.
Okay.
So that's
So
the
let
thing
me
that,
ask you a question because I know you now. I didn't know you as a little girl. And would you say that you were anticipating kind of like a premonition or maybe a psychic event, anticipating that this was going to happen? You already knew that your mother would be beaten by a dog, kind of like you were so sensitive that you were a little psychic, I would say, at that time as well, and you were already registering that that would be a possible problem.
well, obviously, we didn't take the steps to get out of that house. So I think that says a lot for it. You know what I mean? Like it's,
Hmm.
I can't say, oh yes, I remember that particular, but those were events that left a big
Right.
imprint.
Hmm.
So and so that's one event, and then another one, and I'm sharing the ones that I have kids that come for those fears. So another fear that kids will have is fear of either throwing up or having somebody being sick around them. So and then they become kind of prisoners within that fear.
Hmm.
And again, I was in grade 2, and this happened to me where my friend, my best friend, threw up right at my feet. And for a couple of years, I thought every time I'd go in public, I was going to be sick. I had a sore belly. Oh my God, I hope I don't throw up. I hope nobody throws up. So, not being able to enjoy the moment of the event because you're stuck with that in your mind
Hmm.
because you felt the other person being sick. So now you think it's always gonna
Okay.
gonna happen.
Okay. So for you, it was like you were feeling your best friend that was sick, and you were feeling that her emotions, and you thought that they were yours.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, I got.
the symptom, right?
Mhm.
So, and then like 2 3 years later, maybe I was 11, I'm in church and this young girl faints in front of me. Well, I couldn't go to church, and then my parents thought I was faking because it's at that age where you don't want to go to church, and oh, I don't want to go to church, but it was a literal, like,
That's
fear of, and that I every time I would go in the church, I would actually start feeling dizzy, and I never fainted in my life.
yeah. Yeah.
Never, never before or never after that I fainted. So how would I know
Yeah.
what fainting feels like?
Right.
But I swear to you, I faint like, I didn't faint physically, but I could
Just
feel
yeah.
how she felt.
Yeah.
So so that was an experience. And also what I realized is that the church has a high frequency of energy. So that was also a big part of my going into church,
Mm-hmm.
sitting there and feeling the energy in the church was also um, an experience.
So as a sensitive child, you were kind of like ahead. You were feeling the people, what was going in them, and you were feeling that it was yours, right?
Exactly.
So then,
But I was not aware
yeah,
of that
of course.
until until uh, probably 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And it's only when I was doing the births
Hmm.
as a doula. So, I was in my childhood and I'm just explaining different things, but those are the things that the parents are going through. I have an earache, I have a sore throat, I have a sore belly, I'm scared of whatever. And my own kids went through that. And really, I was not even, uh, sometimes I wish that I would know that I would have known what I know now with my own children, but you only do the best you can with what you have.
Yeah, that's right.
And hopefully one day that I'll be granted some grandkids, so I can help my daughter and my son to help them through these issues with what I know. So anyways, but regardless, I'm helping a lot of kids, and I feel good about it. So when those things are happening, you know that those children are sensitive.
Yes.
And like, for instance, I have a lot of kids that will come and the parents will say, they have to go pee often, or they started to wet the bed and I don't know what's happening. Well, to me,
Mhm.
now that I know what I know, uh, and a lot of it is intuitive, but also it's also knowledge.
Right.
But it's like, okay, well, you start asking questions. Is there anything that's invading their space? Do you feel that something has changed in their
Mhm.
life since they started to wet the bed?
Yeah.
And more than often, like often, it's something
So
that
that
is invading their territory.
so that territory invasion reflects in the kidneys and the bladder, right? When somebody is invading your territory, or the little kids, one of their friends is no longer with them, and they go with another group of friends, and they are kind of like put on the side, it will reflect in these kind of issues like peeing at night, or having this uncontrolled bladder, or peeing a lot, right?
It's like an overactive bladder,
Yeah.
but and the thing is, as so so I can talk as a child, but I can also talk as a parent, because
Yeah.
life goes on and we are in a fast-paced lifestyle. So when a child is fearful and oversensitive and cries for everything, well, that's hard on the patience of a parent that has to be to work at 8 o'clock, and then the child is having um, a crisis because the collar of their shirt is, or the tag is bothering them, and they don't want to wear that shirt, or like those are things that sensitive children will um, like take a stand for. Like, I don't want to wear those pants because they bother me, or the shoes, or
Yeah.
a lot of those children, the empaths, we
Hmm.
are all hypersensitive in the
Hmm.
sense that we hear, we see, we smell, we taste, it's got to feel good on the skin. So and if you don't have all those senses um, happy, well, guess what? You have a child in a crisis, or a teenager in a crisis.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in a teenager, it will come out as an attitude, right?
Right.
Or a rebellious. So, yeah. So
So
that's my
thinking about the children that are incredibly sensitive, and they actually can see. There's a lot of young kids that even can see different things. They can see energies moving in the house. Sometimes the house has entities, and you and I have done many house clearings for different people that had like ghosts in the house, right? And I think that for the parents that are listening, I mean, some of you kids are pretty open, and they have amazing talents, like that they can hear voices, they can hear somebody speaking, they can feel, they can hear a group of, for example, when we talk about the bullies, right, at school, they can hear what they're speaking and what they're talking about them, and they start feeling really bad, and then they get the earaches because they don't want to hear what those other kids are talking about them, and things like that. And I think that there's a lot of kids that are being born right now that are sensitive, and they will be probably that developing psychics later on, once they manage all the emotional part, because uh, between these 777 21 years, kids are growing into adolescence and then into young adults. But during that period, the emotions are like huge, and they feel so much, and they don't know if what's going on. But they either don't want to hear it, they don't want to see it, or they feel, as you were saying, the ball in their stomach, and they will throw up, or the kidneys and all of that. So it's good that we're talking about this, because there's so many. I hope that there's parents listening to this show, that if you have a sensitive kid, your kid might be in the future a psychic. It might be somebody that might be very connected and be able to become an empath first, and know. So we need to know. It's kind of like, as a parent, we need to kind of like separate and ask those questions to your kid and say, do you think what you're thinking is yours or is somebody else? Are you feeling, do you think you're feeling something that doesn't belong to you? And the next question would be, how do I know, mom, if that belongs to me or somebody else, right? So it is a process of learning, right? You have to learn little by little. This is mine. This is not mine. This is somebody else. I can hear it. So it's kind of like coming to a place. Okay, you can hear, and that's right. You can hear. So you don't need to have more earthquakes, more earaches, right? You
Mhm.
have to kind of bring that to their awareness so they don't start really damaging their physical body because they are listening and hearing. Don't you agree?
And yes, and it's like siphoning, right? It's
Exactly.
sip siphoning. Okay, well, what's yours? What's mine? And a lot of times I'll tell my clients, you know, you might think that I have everything in order, and but there's a lot that goes through in my body in a day, because I might have a client that comes with a sore shoulder. I'm gonna feel it way before he arrives, and
Right.
I'm like, oh my god, I have a sore shoulder. I remember thinking to myself as a young adult, thinking, oh, I'm always sore. I always have a pain somewhere. And I only realized it when I started to do healing work on people. That when I started to balance their chakras, they would come in and all of a sudden I'm like, I have a knee pain. I didn't have a knee pain before they walked in. So then I started to realize, okay, I'm going to ask them, do you have a pain in your right knee? Sure enough, they had a pain in their right knee. So I knew, and as soon as I would ask, it would go away.
Hmm.
So I knew it was my way of detecting what was out of balance.
Hmm.
That wasn't mine, but I was keep taking it as my own. I don't know if it makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, no, they totally makes sense. I mean, we're talking about being an empath. So the moment that you are connecting with the vibration of the person, you're already feeling them. You know,
Mhm.
I know you. So, there are more every morning you're looking at your list and you're looking at every person and you can tell me, oh, today's going to be a heavy one. Today is going to be a heavy one. I know
Yeah.
there's something in here that's coming and you tell me because you can feel it ahead of time. So that's being an empath and you have that talent, but it doesn't come without having had all this struggle through your entire life where you've been feeling and feeling people in situations. I bet for you, I mean, going to a mall, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Costco.
Costco.
Costco is like,
Yeah,
how many times have I thought to myself, and you and I,
yeah,
you
yeah.
thought to myself, I think I'm gonna faint. Like it's like you get dizzy, but it's
It's the energy.
everybody
It's the
at
energy.
Costco is in a rush,
Yeah,
and they're buying everything.
yeah,
It's like they're throwing in the basket and go. And so yeah, totally. So when I go there, I really have to be grounded, and
yeah,
Costco and a few other stores, and that's all I can handle.
yeah,
And sometimes it's just Costco.
yeah.
So so where I was leading to with all of this is what I tell the children and the adolescent that come is, right now you're learning the, like, the negative side of the gift, which is trying to discern what's mine, what's yours, why am I having those issues, why am I having those fears. So, and if you're feeling that somebody's talking about you, chances are they are. And and if you have a feeling about something and then somebody asks you a question, or you ask the question, or you confront them with it, you know if they're lying or they're not. Like those are things that we get tamed by being polite by society, you know. I remember my son saying, "Mom, you think she's nice, but in your face she is, but in her head she's not." And I used to think, "Oh my God, like
How does
Alex,"
this kid know, right?
but he is right on
Wow.
it.
Okay.
Alex has a great psychic, you know, like
Very intuitive. He's very intuitive.
he's very intuitive, and he now he's not doing readings on people, but he's using his intuition
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
And he's, you know, those are things. That's what I wanted to tell you, is not everybody is gonna have um, energy therapy
as
practice.
as a work or yeah.
Everybody's gonna find their niche, but those tools are always gonna be with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and I think those tools comes they come s- like it's subtle how they come about, and it's
Right.
through life experiences, and the harder the lessons, the bigger the reward, like the bigger the gift,
Right.
if you want to embrace it
Mhm.
as a gift.
Now let me ask or say something. A recommendation to parents. Sometimes the kids they don't want to go to some homes. They don't want to go to some places because they are feeling it. They are feeling that maybe grandpa's house has a ghost and they don't feel comfortable in that place. Or somebody died on the house of a friend and the family moved into this house and there's some energies in that house that are really not that nice. So I think that parents struggle with having kids who are not socially that interactive, right? And say, "Oh, I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He wants to stay in the house." And usually these kids, we say, "Oh, they're introverted, right? They're introverted." And they be more than introverted. They probably are psychics in the making. They're intuitives in the making. They're empath in the making, and they still don't know how to figure out these energies. And I think that parents should learn a little bit how to maneuver and how to process and guide a child into understanding what they feel, what's happening with them. So is this only this house that you don't want to go, or you like going to this house or not that house? So if they say, "Yeah, I love to go to my mirrors on my father's side, but I don't like to go to my mirrors on the other side." So say, "Do you like my mirrors?" "Oh, I love my mirrors when she comes here." So they have to ask the extra questions so they know, okay, maybe she is feeling that there's something in that home and it's not a good place to go because there's something.
And one thing that I can tell you by discussing those issues with
Mhm.
parents, you know, and having um, heart to heart conversations with the parents, at the end of the conversation, it always ends like this. "Well, he reminds me a lot of me when I was that age," you know? So the
Yeah.
apple does not fall far from the tree. And I always say children are our teachers. So we can either try to raise them or help help them become our teacher, because that's what they are.
That's right.
And when we can allow them to teach us through their action and say, "Wait a minute, there's a resemblance here, this sounds familiar." Because when I was in grade 6, I was bullied at school.
Hmm.
Sore belly, all of that, the whole 9 yards. Well, guess what? When Jose was in grade 6, sore bellies started to happen, like to the same age as I was.
Same with my
And
son and myself. You're totally
so
right about that.
then it's like, okay,
Hmm.
you have to learn. I never told my parents, probably I was an adult by the time they found out I had been bullied.
Mm.
Now it made sense to them why I missed 36 days of school in grade 7, because I was sick, because something was out of alignment, right?
Right.
Something was not right.
And
So
before we also didn't have the word bully, so it was not like, okay, this is something that kids do and is labeled as bully. Now we have a lot more understanding what bully is, so it's
exactly.
a lot difference. So continue with what you were saying.
So I don't know where I was going. So when it happened with Jose, well, it was 3 months for her before she said anything, you
Yeah.
know? So when it happened, I was like, oh, she's not gonna suffer the same way I did. And so right away we intervened and empowered her. But at the same time, it's like, don't think because it happened to you that it's not going to happen to your children. For sure it's going to happen, especially if it's unresolved, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So those are things that parents need to be aware. Okay, whatever I
Hmm.
haven't resolved might show up in my kids.
Right.
So work with it with your children, because they're going to teach you
Hmm.
the,
Hmm.
the lessons,
And
because they're
that is awesome that you bring it to that place where your teacher is your child, and you have to work that piece so they don't struggle, and you can heal that, right? That bullying. Very interesting. I know many psychics. Many psychics that they have tubes in their ears. They had infections as a child because they were hearing stuff. I mean, they didn't know at the time, and they had to, they had this problem. And then, later on in life, they figured out that they were a psychic and they were hearing, you
and
know,
some have ear loss
and
too.
they have ear loss. So in a way, they lose a little bit of their ear, but they gain also their psychic ear, and they listen in a different way. So that's
Or
also what
some
happens.
some people will say, I have a high pitch frequency in my ear that
Right.
I always hear. What is that? Well, what is it that you've been ignoring all your life, right? And you're hearing other dimensional
Yeah.
uh, frequencies.
Downloads and different things that happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes um, children are pure. Children
Yeah.
don't have a filter. We're the ones putting the filter on our children
Right.
and, buffering them and kind of taming them in a way that we want. But they are pure. They're pure energy beings. And I'm so grateful of the journey that all of this has brought me. So, one
Mhm.
more thing before we go on to
The next
another topic,
subject. Okay.
um, is this is kind of funny because
Okay.
I was in grade 5, and I always move my body. It's either, and you know that it's like
My body.
I always like energy runs through my body, so it's
That's
got to
right.
move.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's either my toes are wiggling or something is moving.
Yeah.
Well, grade 5, I had this teacher. She was awesome, but
I think I know that story.
she she couldn't stand that I was like, all of a sudden I was like this, and I was like this, and I was not allowed to wear dresses as a young girl, because
Yeah.
everybody would see my underwears, because I always had one leg up, or like,
Yeah.
always. That was my nature. Well, if they would have diagnosed me, I know I would have been ADHD. That's a sure shot. But instead, the teacher would call my mom and say, I think Janice has worms. She wiggles and
Oh
you
man.
know like she's always
Oh,
moving.
yeah.
So my mom would go to the pharmacy and get a treatment for worms. Yeah, I'm grateful that she treated me for worms and allowed me. She didn't buffer my talents, obviously, with
Yeah.
worm medicine, but maybe had I would have been put on medicine or whatever, it might have tamed something. I don't know. But or maybe I would be a doctor today if I would have had the medicine.
Uh,
But regardless, it's just to say that our journey is our we make our journey, right? So those are explanations, and I can recognize those kids when they come on my table and you see the little toes wiggling and the little foot shaking, and all of a sudden it's like the minute you ground them,
yeah.
they
They,
ooh,
they
they
go.
go,
They relax to the max.
they relax, and then I say, "Oh, your legs are like spaghetti and your arms are like spaghetti and you're allowing the energy to flow, and do you feel
Mhm.
that?" And it's so much fun to work with
So
children.
will you say like a guided meditation, some relaxing music before they go to bed, just to
Mhm.
decompress all of that energy? What do you recommend for the parents to work with their young ones? And
Well, so naturally they will find ways. Like last week, I got a picture from my mom that she sends me. It's so cute. It's the little jacket of the little girl,
yes,
and then like a big full hand of gravel in her pocket. And she sends me, "Does this mean anything?" And my answer was, well, she's probably in need of grounding,
Grounding.
like that she needs to ground herself,
Yeah.
because the energy last week was very turmoilish, let's put it
Mhm.
this way.
So
So
before we go into that energy of this past week, any recommendations for parents checking with their kids when there's a lot of bullying going on in the schools, and I know that we attest that because we have very sensitive kids that we see, right? And any recommendation on the kids are bullying right now? What would you how would you address that, or how can we address some of that those behaviors happening?
it's being, and it's so complex, because the cyber, like when we were growing up, we didn't have the technology that they have. So
Right,
there's like that world, but at the end of the day, the emotions are the same as when we were bullied at school,
right.
as how they are bullied at school.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, it stems from insecurities and fears, right? It's all insecurity and it's all fear based,
Hmm.
and jealousy and envy. So those are emotions that, or behaviors that we need to acknowledge, and have a heart to heart talk with the person that is being bullied, and saying, there's always going to be jealousy and there's always going to be envy, and fears and insecurity is going to be there for the rest of our life. Sometimes it'll be higher, sometimes it'll be lower, but having that heart to heart conversation with the teenager or the young boy or girl that's being bullied at school, and acknowledging that it is happening,
Hmm.
because if they are opening up to you that it is happening, that means that they feel safe. So
Hmm.
providing them with a safe, um,
Hmm.
non-judgmental place, because the bully is as in en souffrance,
En
like the
souffrance.
bully is suffering
Yeah.
also. So it's to be able to
Mhm.
acknowledge um, the bully and the victim, and also there's we're always going to have opportunity in life
Mm-hmm.
where we can be the bully or we can be the victim,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's having those conversations with the
Mm-hmm.
person. And what I always um, bring up, because I work the energy. So, and when they come, I can feel the bully's energy on their body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's helping them, guiding them to detach
Mm-hmm.
the energy of what they've been experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And once that's out of their frequency, out of their bubble, sealing that and empowering them,
Okay,
you
do you want
know,
to quickly talk about that bonam that you do? Maybe it's a good moment to explain that quickly, like the two bonams, so people that are bully and the person, and how the chakras are connected and
the
cutting the cords.
yeah. So, it's the Libonama Lumit. It's like the stick man. And you connect the dots. So you have two stickmans, and
Mm-hmm.
you identify every chakra, the seven main one, and then you create a line between the
Right.
two of the bonums.
So you draw this in a paper. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah, I should have
No, but
brought
that's
that.
okay. You draw two little people and connect the seven chakras, and then
Yeah,
what?
and then you give your name to one of the bonum, the
Okay.
little man, and then the other one is the other person that you want to detach yourself from.
Okay.
So you take a pair of scissors and a simple phrase that it's to come. Everything needs to neutralize before you you combust it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
say, I haven't done anything wrong, and you haven't done anything wrong. So therefore, I'm gonna take my power back, and I'm gonna give yours back.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the bully is throwing you arrows,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why he's doing that. It's to make himself feel better about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get more power. So he
Superior.
thinks.
Yeah.
And then you're the victim, you're the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So by shifting that energetically, it's like, I'm going to take my power back and I'm going to give yours back. Thank you very much. And you do that in every chakra,
Yeah.
and kind of separates the two.
So
But
you use scissors to split the paper and cut it in the
yeah,
center. So you cut all the cords,
yeah.
and then you burn it as well.
You can burn it, you can bury it, or if you're not ready to fully discard it, you can even put it in the freezer. But
Put
it's
it in the freezer.
because
Okay.
some people are not ready, to fully take their power or fully give their power
Yeah.
back or
So
whatever.
that will be
So
a standby situation
yeah,
until they're ready. Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Um, but and another
One question. I do have a question that I wanted to ask you. Have
yep.
you ever gotten, now that you are doing the healing work, right? Have you ever gotten one of your bullies on the table? Have that happened to you, that one of the people that were bullying you, or they were like not nice to you, they came on your table and you have to help them heal?
Oh, you're asking me a question.
Going back in time.
Yeah, um, I would say not that it has had an effect like uh, I've had some that it left a deep imprint,
Yeah.
but I would say that I did get some people that made me nervous. Like when I saw that they were
Okay.
coming,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like that person.
That's
uh,
cool. You have, like, you were shy about those people in
yeah,
school.
like, oh my God, they're coming to
Okay.
see me. And it's
Yeah.
not, it's not necessarily that they're bullies,
Bully, right.
it's
They were just
more
they had a strong personality.
strong personalities, or like people that you would not expect that they would reach out for your help, and then
Hmm.
you think like, why are they coming to see me?
Yeah.
Like, and I have learned over the
Yeah.
years with experience that don't judge, because everybody has their own shit and caboodle to deal with, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not because from the outside it looks perfect that it is.
Hmm.
So and I always, every healing, I always say thank you for the opportunity, not necessarily out loud but in my heart. I'll
Hmm.
always say thank you for the opportunity, because it just confirms my statement. You
Yeah.
know, that we're all here and we all have a piece of the puzzle. That's another thing, you know, pieces of the puzzle. I feel like I'm a big box of puzzle
Yeah.
that we assemble pieces.
Well, with this conversation, I am really trusting and hoping that people that are watching can get some information regarding their parents' relationship with their sensitive kids, and also why what your kids might be going through that you might not understand because they are extremely sensitive, empath, and they might have talents, right? So that there can be some really a different way of approaching the child, not forcing them to be extroverted or doing this and doing that, but really taking the time to investigate a little more about the talents that this kid might have that the parents might be missing the boat. So I really want to get that clear that the child might have something that the parents don't relate because they're not like that, but the kid might have some special talents that they need to be discovered and go a little more profoundly into figuring your children and helping them from a different perspective, total different perspective. Now I want to go to what happened. You mentioned it a little moment ago regarding this amazing week that happened. I think from Sunday to Sunday, or probably from Friday to Sunday, kind of like 10 days. We had an amazing over pressure that was basically all human beings were like pressure cooker for a full 10 days, where the Schumann resonance went off the charts. There's a day that there's no there's not even registered. It's like it's black because it went off the chart, so they cannot even include it. It went beyond. And but the weekend, the last weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, they were like heavy, 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 heavy duty. I personally felt a lot of pressure in my everywhere. I mean, I thought I had high blood pressure. I thought I was like, pressure cook. And you saw me. I was checking my pressure like, on every 2 3 hours on that Sunday, Monday. It was like a lot.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what was going on. I was like going through my menus from the prior days if I ate too much cholesterol or what. I was kind of like saying, what happened here? What is going on? But we have the Schumann resonance going on, and also we had solar flares. There were like 2 days that we had solar flares in the last 10 days, and then we have coronal mass ejection, and then we have another one that is happening yesterday and today. But what I want to make a point is that the sun, before it's going to explode and give us this coronal mass ejection, there's a buildup.
Mhm.
So sensitive people feel this stuff even before it happens. And we feel completely pressurized. I mean, it's like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? Right. And then it explodes and there's a release, right? People feel it. The Schumann resonance was off the chart. So people, when we get the resonance so high, it means that the tone of the earth that is goes up and down within the ionosphere, it increases. So we go from 7.83 hertz, we go up to 40 hertz, which is a bigger vibration, a bigger frequency, and even further up. But right now the measuring devices go up to 40 hertz. So this went off the chart. So for a lot of you that have been experiencing something weird this week, and you're saying, "Man, am I having mental issues, mental problems? What's going on with me? I
Going
might need a."
crazy?
Huh?
Am I going crazy?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So this happened this past week, and you wanted to show us something with when we are blocked, when we have trauma, when we haven't worked our issues, when we haven't worked with whatever needs to be worked, right? Um this feels like the pipes are clogged, and we it's an opportunity really when we feel this way. It's an opportunity to say, okay, let's stop and see what's going on. Everybody feels this stuff. I felt this stuff. I thought it was my high blood pressure, my heart, you know, but everybody feels it in one way or another. I think we had a couple people that express a friend of ours expressed that her ovaries were hurting and her guts were hurting. Some of the people, their bladder was hurting, their kidneys were hurting. Some other people, they thought they want to have a heart attack, or other people felt that they'll have an aneurysm or something. We see this in our clients that walk through the door, and we know that everybody was under the pressure cooker.
Mhm. Yeah, so for some of the people that my clients that they will understand, or they will be able to relate with this explanation, because that's what they get when they come here on the table to get a healing session. So basically how I see this, and I'm I'm a tangible person, so I need to see, I need to understand, I need to have a visual, and this is what I've created. So I went to the hardware store and got a pipe,
Yeah.
and and if I was to run water in the pipe, uh, the water right now, because it's all clamped, it wouldn't go really anywhere because
Right.
it has different clamp. So, and for for some people, we have the clamps in our chakras, in our energy centers. So lower back, if you have a lower back pain,
Try to put it
you
straight
have
like that.
you
So let's see the bottom chakras first. You don't need to get it that close, but actually further back would be better if you can just straight the and show us the first and second chakra over there.
yeah. So let's say you come in with lower back pain or knee pain or ankle or foot or restless legs. Well, I know that this clamp is probably tight, and
Tight, tight, tight.
it's not going anywhere. And
Yeah.
chances are the one at the top is loose and it's spinning. So you're like stuck in a tornado because it's wide open here. You're getting all the information, but it's not going anywhere. So, so that's what I do, is help people through their breaths remove the clamps so that the flow of energy they can feel it. And when we work those clamps out and helping them, either loosening them up or removing them completely, they'll feel a head rush, or they'll feel heat, or um,
Mhm.
tingles, or
Mhm.
head spinning, whatever, however they're going to feel it. But this is a great visual for people to understand. Okay, so I probably have a clamp. So I put one at the root and one at the sacrum, one at the solar plexus, one at the
Mhm.
heart, at the throat, the third eye, and
In the crown.
the crown. So, and some people, they can have all of them clamped up or pretty much tight. Some are tighter than others. So when you get an energy session, it's to help loosen those clamps up so that the flow of energy can flow better in the pipe. So which so happens that it is our spine.
Right.
So
Mhm.
people that have, like for me, for instance, my head is how I know that there's a Schumann resonance or a solar flare. And I'll ask you the first, when I open my eyes, there's this feeling of having a clamp around my head. And I
Mhm.
know that it's not a migraine. It's like this feeling of being stuck in a pressure cooker. So
Right.
I know there's going to be some kind of something. Well, it's better to know that it might be in the universal
Mhm.
energies than thinking all day, am I going to have a heart attack or an aneurysm? Or,
Yeah.
don't deny your symptoms. That's not
Mhm.
what I'm saying, but
You
consider
know what I what
what's
I found?
happening.
I found also that many people, and I think that we have to take the action. If you feel that your heart is going to explode, go and check it out at the hospital.
Yeah.
It's important that we do that. But what I found is that a lot of the times when we have these weeks of intensity, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, Schumann resonance spinning off the charts, uh, people go to the hospital and they say you have nothing, you're fine. But check my blood, check my this. I said, nope, there's nothing, you're good. It's like, so there's something else. Energetically, I think that we all are shifting. And when we have right now, because of the situation with this pandemic situation, a lot of people are in fear. Fear is being sold, oversold everywhere. People are worried about the V's, the V, and there's a lot of things like that. So people are basically in a lot of fear, and this is the clamp that we're seeing. I mean, if we have the intensity is coming through this crown chakra and going down, and people are just like like crazy because it's not grounded. And the first chakra is the one that needs to open so we can ground people, and that is great. But it is also people that have had trauma in their lives
Yes.
from the first 7 years, second 7 years, third 7 years. Those 21 years are first chakra, second chakra, and third chakra. So if they have this trauma in there, this naturally that host, that first chakra is, if you're supposed to run through the pipe, let's say 100 volts, that pipe is very, very slow, very small in the bottom. So that pipe in the bottom, in the first chakra, is connected to your kidneys and your bladder. So if all your life for all those 7 years you were terrorized or you were in danger, it
Yeah.
is obvious that that person can have adrenal fatigue, so
Mhm.
no energy whatsoever. He can have bladder infections all the time, right?
Mhm.
Kidney infections all the time,
Mhm.
or some problems with the bladder, or some problems with the urethra, all of that, because this is information that is taking space from a healthy organ and is compromising the organs. Eventually, something will happen. I mean, if all these infections keep going on, it is so important to unplug that energy so that organ can finally get the chi, the
Mhm.
energy can to give that bladder and those kidneys and the adrenal glands the energy that it needs. Sometimes it's whatever we go all going through this situation for 1 year and something right now. Everybody's going nuts with this.
Yeah.
But if you on top of that you have difficult first 7 years or difficult second years, the second 7 years will be your second chakra. So people might be feeling pain in their back, a lot of lower back pain, a lot of belly aches, a lot of ovary aches, because
Um,
it's all connected with your sexual glands, which are the ovaries. Those are the second next tier of 7 years. So if there are issues there, you know with this kind of energy, with this kind of situation that we are experiencing, it is so imperative that you know you're watching, that you do your own personal work and start removing all that information that is recorded in those glands in those organs, because it can be detrimental. It can be, I mean, there's other sickness that can happen.
Mhm. And yeah, and also it's a matter of acknowledging and being aware that all of our experiences, good, bad, dramatic, disastrous, tragedies, past life, it's all stored in our body.
Exactly.
Like our ancestral
Information, ancestral
information,
karma.
it's all in our physical body. So if we can see our physical body like a filing cabinet,
Hmm.
okay, so that we hold some files that doesn't serve us any good. So when we put an intention of clearing the filing cabinet through our breath, because that's the only thing that we have control over in our life,
Hmm.
is our breath. No one can take that away from us.
Hmm.
No one. But we allow circumstance, experiences in our life, we get a bad news, it takes our breath away.
Right.
But until we decide, no, no, I'm getting my power back and I'm going back there and getting my breath back into my body. And I'm going to do
Exactly.
an exchange, and I'm going to exchange my breath back into my body, meaning your energy,
Hmm.
and getting out,
Right.
part of the trauma. And I always tell my
Hmm.
clients, listen, you're going to release what you are ready to release for today. This is a journey. It's not a quick fix. It's
Hmm. Hmm.
you come and we're going to peel what you're ready to peel off, because who am I to say to the person, "Oh, let's get rid of all your traumas and
I'm gonna
your
fix you
tragedies."
today.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
it's a one stop shop here.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it's a journey, and you have
The
to
people have to be ready. They have to be
and you have
ready.
to own it,
They have to own
right?
it. Right. Right.
Own your healing. There's nothing worse than somebody coming for a healing
Hmm.
that it comes as a gift, or like some people will gladly receive it, or they'll ask for a gift certificate for their birthday or whatever.
Hmm.
But if you're trying to bring somebody in,
You're trying to fix somebody
oh,
that you love. Yeah. It's
oh,
not easy
that is the worst thing ever.
because they're not
And
ready.
you can feel it. You
Yeah.
can feel it as they come in. It's like they're not here for themselves. They're here to please the wife, or they're
Hmm.
here to please
The
the
parents.
dad, or you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
There's another thing that I wanted to mention, and it is that these file cabinets that you're talking, we're storing information in our
yes,
physical body, and that's occupying space, right?
yes,
And when we have all these traumas, karmas from past life, from this life, from our ancestors, we are holding space in our physical body. And that is literally like a virus. So if you think about a computer that has a virus, it is not working properly. It's the same thing with us.
yes,
When we allow that computer, our personal computer, to have and host many viruses in every single chakra, it's kind of, you have different files with different viruses in different places. We are not living our lives at 100% because those viruses are filters, and those viruses are really filtering our capacity to enjoy life. We think that we're living life to our max, and it's not true, because while we have all those different viruses inside, we have shields, we have protections. We walk into situations and people, and we are not being ourselves because we are hiding something, we are protecting something, and we have all these shields. So our life is not at 100%. We're living our life at 50, 40%, and people are depressed, people are sad, they're not connected. How can a person connect if that first, second chakra is completely closed and you want to connect with God? How much energy is coming for that connection with divinity? It's not possible. The moment that you open your first, second, third chakra, the energy suddenly goes to the heart. and then
Mhm.
your heart opens up and you say, wow, what was that? Man, what feeling, what a feeling inside. And then it keeps going to your crown, and then you have that feeling and that sensation of connection with the divine. And that's why we are all, this is a right. We all deserve to connect with God and put the lights on. And you have I think it's like a Christmas tree that you put all the little lights on the tree to really become this beautiful light, the rainbow light.
Mhm.
And we all deserve this. We all have that right to own that amazing feeling of being connected. But we have to command ourselves and have the duty to work on our personal issues, whatever we know is there, because we don't want to get our organs, our kidneys failing, our liver failing, our heart
Right.
failing. We need to work those emotions and getting them out of our body, because not only we're not living at 100%, but we are deterring, or we are what's the word? We are really tampering our organs. We are overworking our organs, and then our lifespan is going to be diminished as well, because we're hurting our organs.
Mhm. Mhm. And I feel at this time I would love to share a few tools that people can
Hmm.
at home to help them. And I always said meditation is the best medication. Um, when I was a teenager, I was like so blessed to have a teacher who
Hmm.
happens to be my cousin, Simone Dag, and she introduced me to visualization that I loved it because I was able to. I have a lot of imagination and creativity creativity. So I obviously resonated with that. And then I was able to relax and I was able to let go of some stuff and some
Hmm.
stresses. And
Yeah.
so along my life, I realized that that was a big seed that was planted. So when I became a hypnotherapist and a hypnobirthing, helping the moms to deliver their baby with some hypnosis technique and all of that, I have high respect for meditation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it meditation, but it includes everything that has to do with clearing the mind and connecting with the divine and connecting with the earth at the same time. So that to me was a lifesaver. And I always tell my clients, I'm not going to tell you um, things that I have not integrated in
Hmm.
my own personal life,
Yeah.
because that that's that's what has helped me. And obviously you're coming into my frequency, so if I share that with you, chances are it will help you also.
Right.
So, and also the crystals,
Right.
I still have. This is so cute. I had a little boy that came, he was in grade 5, he's now in grade 10 or 11, and I gave him a crystal, and he came to a meditation last summer. Believe it or not, he still has that crystal.
In his pocket.
So, how many crystal I have given over the last 15 years doing this kind of work? I have given a lot of crystals. And I remember when I first tapped into the crystals, Jose was little Alex too, and I didn't have always have pockets, so I would hide them in my
Wrong.
pyramid, my bra. And I remember one day Jose telling me, "Mom, Mama, you're the only mama in Kent County, I'm sure, that goes everywhere with crystals in their bra, her bra." Well, I can now say that I'm not the only one in Kent County with crystals in her bra, because all the women that have come and
Yeah.
that I suggested, listen, if you need extra
Yeah.
support, if you need grounding, if you
Hmm.
need just, and you don't have a necklace, well, put it in your bra. But I do still today
You have
carry
your
crystals,
reports.
not in my bra, but um,
Oh,
like I have a
selenite,
selenite that
selenite.
I carry, and also I have a rose quartz because I do a lot of heart work.
Yeah,
So
and I think it would be probably a good idea to mention people that in our website, which is www.incentwellness.com, we have two amazing meditations for
mm,
people. When you know, if I have an app for the earthquakes, so I know when the solar flares come. I have that app. I'm gonna put it in this conversation, and I also have an app for the Schumann resonance. So I'm alerted as soon as I get notifications wherever there's a solar flare or the Schumann resonance or all of that. But in our website, we have two beautiful guided meditations that Janice and I have created. And one has to do with essential oils. And essential oils, and we work with doTERRA essential oils, are the best for people that want to relax. Just saying something about peppermint is so easy. And I have it here. Whenever I have a client, and peppermint's right here. Where is peppermint? Where is it? I cannot even read that. I know this is frankincense, but peppermint, I don't even see. This is peppermint. Somewhere in there it says peppermint in there. Okay.
and you have glasses.
Yeah, no, but it's a little dark in here. So peppermint, what is amazing about peppermint, it is works with the amygdala. The amygdala is a little thing, like a little pea inside our brain that, I mean, we don't have access because there's the brain barrier that stop it. But through the olfactory nerves and the olfactory glands, whenever you smell this, we go beyond the brain barrier and we automatically engage the amygdala. And why is this little amygdala so important? The amygdala is the little thing, is the alarm sensor in our brain that sends a message to the adrenal glands. So we go into fight and flight, or we switch from being relaxed in sympathetic nervous system. We'll immediately go in sympathetic, alert, and the adrenals kick in, and we go into fight and flight mode. So when we have a client and they're very fearful, the first thing that we do is we have them, smell a little bit of the peppermint because we need to relax them to be able to unplug and help clearing some of the issues by relaxing the amygdala, which relax the cortisol levels, will relax the adrenaline, and people go and relax. So a bottle of peppermint is so helpful. Highly recommend that. If anybody there wants to get in touch with us regarding doTERRA, please do so. Connect with Janice. She's an expert with the oils.
Eh,
Yeah. And then, one of the meditations that we have, we did a meditation called Gifts of the Earth,
yeah.
and it's a meditation with essential oils, and that's an amazing meditation for people that want to relax, applying the oils in the chakras and going within. This was a guided thing that came to you. You channeled this information, and you got the right oils for the right meditations. So I channel the music and you channel the oils, and we put it together. And it's an amazing meditation that helps restore the body and relax all those chakras. Why? Because we need to process the light that is coming. There's so much light and intensity, and there are tools. So this meditation, Gifts of the Earth, will help you process by using the essential oils and breathing and listen to the guided meditation to open those chakras on your own table, on your own bed, and your own sofa. We don't need to be there. We kind of like, we are there because our music, our voice, our sound is there, but you can do it with the essential oils. And then the other guided meditation that we have is an amazing one, and I love the music on this one. The one that we did a pedestal, on your pedestal. And this meditation is not necessarily a meditation. You need to put your headbuds in your ear, put it in your phone, and put that phone in your pocket, and just start moving and dancing. It is a guided meditation, but that encourage movement. And if you do it moving, it would open all those chakras. And that's what I feel that is just unbelievable. I love that meditation. Those two meditations are in our website. You can purchase it and start listening to them every single day. You listen to those meditations 21 days, and there will be incredible results with your well being, feeling more relaxed, more open. So your first chakra is not closed, and you can be totally empowered. Own your pedestal, own your power. That's what that meditation does. It's a beautiful meditation. They are both at incentwellness.com. Then the other, since we're going to be wrapping it up, I would like to do another pitch, that is, I have developed a method to really help people go beyond what's happening that is triggering our fears and all of that. This method is called ascending the sacred spiral. Okay, and this is a method that training, shamanic training that I offer in that it's going to last 2 years. You do like 1 week at a time, one in spring, summer, and then the fall, and then the next year you do spring and fall again, and we complete. You do a 1 week training, shamanic training, but we go very deep into working with ascending the sacred spiral, which means opening those chakras and start working and connecting whatever we know as concentrical circles, because we keep kicking the same of problems. It keeps repeating and repeating in every chakra. So by working on these issues, we start moving from the karmic wheels of the chakras into connecting these wheels into the spiral. So it is only when we can start spiraling that we start expanding our Merkaba, we start expanding our full light, and we become the luminous beings that we are. So this method, I'm teaching this method starting sometime in May, June. We still haven't decided the date, but I'm hoping that I can get some people coming here. You can tent. There's a cabin. We're going to have spaces. Probably by June, we'll have the spaces ready and people can come and join us in this training. I'm also doing the training on a one-on-one basis, so people can come for 3-4 days, and we start with one chakra and we start going with that. And with that, it's not only unplugging your chakras, but I'm teaching you how to teach the same things that I'm teaching you. You will learn. So there's many different healing modalities within ascending the sacred spiral that would allow you to completely open up your whole system. Your nadis, your Ida and Pingala nadis are going to open for you to move your Kundalini energy and open your cerebral centers. I'm talking about the pineal gland, pituitary gland, hypothalamus, and start becoming the luminous being that you're supposed to be. So I'm really encourage people to connect with us. I offer the training. Janice offers the training as well. If it's a group, we're both going to be working together. And this is coming in June, as soon as we have the weather, the facilities, and we're ready to go. But this is happening. And it's going to be a shamanic training where you're going to be working with drumming, you're going to be working with sound, you're going to be working with how to open and allow and work with that. How do you start working in awakening the Kundalini in your clients, and know that you're doing it, because there are signs, there are ways to do it in a very gentle way where people will start expanding, decompressing, and changes happening in an amazing way. So whenever the intensity of the sun is here, be rest assured that your pipes are going to be clear, you're going to be opening. So instead of being stuck and feeling your ovaries, if everything's open, you're going to go woo all the way up, and you're going to say, wow, this energy is so unbelievable. I'm connected and I'm merging with God and I'm feeling one with everything. So that's what we want for people to feel, because the energy is doing that. But if we're blocked, then it does the opposite. So,
And if we need to push through it, right? It's like we need to
mhm.
push through that motion. One other thing that I'm really excited about in the last year has, since, well, a year and a half now, where we are being more home and being asked to ground and connect with nature. And we have done that in the last year and a half, is a lot more connected to nature, to the woods. And we have our fairy land that we are getting ready for the hammock meditations. So we will be bringing out the schedule for that soon.
Right.
And also our forest dancing, ecstatic dancing, so that we can move that energy in a collective way. But also, we can't go out and dance in the bars like we used to, but we can go
Exactly.
dance in the
Let's
forest.
let's go dance in
And
the forest.
with the mosquitoes and the frogs and the dragonflies and the eagles and the birds. But we're gonna have fun with that. And fun is also a nice component to bring into the
Fun
equation.
and laughter. Laughter opens so much the chakras, right? It shifts the vibration, it shifts the people.
And it helps people connect with their inner child. So
Exactly.
as coming back to different
The
tools,
movement.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
wrap it up with that, is meditate, crystals, Epsom salt baths,
Walking on the beach.
walking on the beach, going in the forest, having a nice hug a tree, sit at the foot of a tree and just sit there and be one with it. Those are simple little things that doesn't cost a whole lot, but works wonders.
Exactly.
So, um, yeah. Do you have any more
Well,
questions?
well, basically, with the static dancing and forest dancing that we're gonna do two different things.
Yeah.
We're planning, depending on the schedule of the workshop, but mostly every Saturday we're gonna have like maybe two or three events happening, right? Like in the morning, one thing, in the afternoon, maybe a group of hammock people that come, and then a hammock people that come later on for the sound healing. We're gonna be doing meditation, but also sound healing, which is different. The meditative part is more like guided meditation, but the sound healing is really working deeply on your own issues. So you know what you have, and you come here to breathe strong and clear your stuff and go within. So that's going to happen. When it comes to the static dancing, you don't need to be a dancer. Okay, you're not going to be dancing and looking for where's my partner that I'm going to dance with. It's not like the bar dancing. You know, we have blindfolds, so people put a blind on their eyes. So everything is, you close your eyes, you put your blindfold. You can have a blindfold, or just close your eyes and don't open it, and you just stay where you are in the spot. So you don't want you to start moving and jumping around everywhere. You want you to connect and go within, because the moment that you start opening your body and shaking and moving the hips and start moving that kundalini that's going to start opening, it's going to be incredible, and I think that we're ready for that, especially here in Mountain. We're ready for that. So be ready for static dancing. I've been writing loops. I have all my material. I'm getting all this every time that I'm singing, and for meditation, I feel like I want to start going more African drumming and getting wilder, right? And I know people are in the hammock, so now we are kind of like differentiated. Okay, hammock music is gonna be calming and relaxing, but the other stuff is gonna be wild and loud and boom, 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 getting people to move and shake everything that we need to let go. So that's my last thing observation that I wanted to mention.
Yeah. So we're really excited, and we're getting some new little additions
Yeah,
to the farm, the funny farm. So we'll
yeah.
leave it at that.
And we're respecting all the regulations that we have regarding the times that we're living right now. I mean, there's social distancing. Every hammock is disinfected, and there's social distancing, and everything is according to the rules. So people can come in and feel totally,
Safe.
uh, safe, that everything's
It's
is good.
outside. It's not inside.
It's not inside, so it's outside with in nature.
Yeah.
Well, Janice Johnson, so excited to have you here in New Earth Radio. What a great show! I really enjoyed having you in your place and I in my place, and we can
Yes.
do this this talk, right? It's not like you're next to me and we're talking to each other and looking and turning, but we kind of like looking at each other in the camera, and I love it. I think it was a great show, great information, and I'll put all the different things running below so people can call us and get in contact with us and all of that.
And thank you for having me on your show. I really
Yes.
enjoyed it. So, are you coming home or you're staying,
I'm gonna I'm gonna
you're
wrap it
staying
up.
in your man cave?
Hey, we have to eat. We have dinner. So I'm running right now. We had a pretty long show. I think it was an hour and a half, something like that.
Okay.
But
Thank you so much, everyone. And if you
thank you,
have any
everyone.
questions, don't hesitate to connect with us, okay?
Exactly. Blessings. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend. And we'll be connecting and putting a lot of information in our website about all the events that we're going to be doing in the summer, late spring and summer. So it's going to be awesome, and also the fall. Bye bye.
Oh,
Ciao,
mwah.
ciao.
Bye.